Alright guys, welcome back to another how-to videos on the Fiat 500 ABARTH. That's the Abarth. Mr. Abarth's DNA in these cars. So we've got Ghost and we've got Penny out here today. So we are going to be doing some crazy work. I know if you guys are long-term viewers on the channel, these cars have both the same coilovers, kind of had the same wheels on them. This one wasn't a front-end accident, that's why it has a black fender or a gray fender on it now. It also has the Lambo doors, but today's video we're going to be focusing on ECU and also the BCU or BCM body control module inside as well. So we're going to basically try to take this key, this DNA, and put it into this one, because this one had a lost key, and I'll show you guys right now. We could just go ahead and start the car, however though, it is run off of a little tiny motor like thing. So basically it has a, let's see if I can see anything on here. So it has a little tiny thing on here that tells the car, hey, I have the key in my ignition, can you start me? And that's going to be inside this car right over here. So now you can see what I was talking about a little more clear. This one right here is what turns on the car, so we can click it on. You'll see right now. Hold on. There we go. So we can click it on and click it off, but even if we hold down the clutch, it's not going to turn it over because this one needs a key, which this thing, as weird and strange as it is, has a sensor in it that allows the mechanism to turn on and off. So we're going to probably take this out of the plug and this out of the plug as well, this ring, and take all these little parts and swap it over. This is a theory, guys. This is still a how-to video, so if you need to learn how to change the ignition switch or take off the engine control module, all this stuff up here, we're gonna do all that today. And then there's other videos on the YouTube channel how I did this, lots of videos on this car, some other friends' car as well. But enough of me yapping. We're gonna go ahead and get our 10 to knock off the battery. We're gonna do the same thing on the other vehicle. Then we're gonna take the 13 as well and start knocking off the battery tray. We're going to take out the battery tray and the battery just to get this guy off and swap it over. And of course, dealing with the electronics, we want to be very careful not to touch any metals. Can't tell you, I've actually sparked a few cars before accidentally touching this. And this extra wire is actually for my siren that I connected on this car, and you guys can watch the video on the YouTube channel, it's on there as well. A couple of 10s, knock the battery loose, and after that you can see my tray is relatively loose because I had the bolts, I just got them from the junkyard. I just never installed them because this car was sitting for a while due to its blown head gasket, and that's also the reason why we're actually swapping the parts around, because this car cannot run anymore. You guys see on the YouTube channel, if you are watching my channel, I took it to the last meet state of speed, and that was the last cars and coffee it'll ever be at, until of course we get an engine or by some magical miracle get this thing rebuilt. I would love to rebuild it myself and do all that work again. I'm not down for the timing because the timing on here is very frustrating, but I am always up to take it apart and this time check the piston rings and all that other fun stuff. I did not do a leak down test, something I should have done. So definitely next time we do rebuild it, we're going to do that leak down test to make sure there's nothing wrong, because compression test, it passed with flying colors. To make this a little bit easier, I'm just going to go ahead and take out the entire battery tray. Looks like I have 113 down there, look at that. That's funny. I guess we had one after all. So I don't know if the other car has enough voltage to start it, but if it doesn't, this one was just started today, so we'll just pop in that battery over there. That's relatively a new battery as well. So let's get that 13 out, take the tray out, and there goes our whole entire module and everything. And this is on a stock tune. We have a 10 right behind, don't forget that guy right there. This is on a stock tune, so it should be able to pass smog and all that fun stuff. There's nothing too much to worry about. So that's one. Now here comes the fun one, taking all this apart and knocking that guy loose. You can see my tuner box right there. It's one of the older tuner boxes. We got to be very careful with this screen. So a fun fact, when you get one of these devices, they don't sell them no more, but the screen itself is like $300. I found them online to do it. but they gave me the same price for the newer box. Basically, took apart the screen, swapped the motherboards on that one, so that works. Little off topic, but now we have to try to get this cover off, which is a 10, unplug all this big wires. The fuses stay in, but we have to get this whole entire thing right here off and out of the vehicle, and then we have to take apart this to get our access to our ignition switch. Alright, so coming down, so let's go ahead and get these two 10s out. I think it's just two 10s. Honestly guys, this is my first time doing this, but it's pretty straightforward. You can look online, the Google Photos. It's really not that much. Of course it's a little intimidating, but if you fixed a few cars before, it's nothing to it. Let me pop it off and I'll show you guys what everything looks like. Alright, looks like we have one Torx bits right there and one more going up there. So first off, let me see here. This looks like a piggyback, but really it's just a power wire. So let's knock off this guy first. And this is why we want to unplug the battery. It's cool to take that out anyway first, because we do not want to get electrocuted. So pull that tab out, wiggle and jiggle, pop it off. And now this one, let's see here. How would I be able to rip you off? Button right there, there you go. And this one should come off. There we go. And we have a few more. Looks like a nylon tie. Do the same thing with this one right here. Wiggle and jiggle. And the last one. Wow, that's a lot of connections. Really, it all goes to AC and blinkers and gas pedals and window switches and all that fun stuff. Also goes to the engine to talk to it. So now it looks like we just have the two screws in the way. So let's get the Torx bit and knock off those two screws. Alright, so I'm actually using a L key. It's nothing like an engine or nothing that needs 100% tightening down. The wires right here pretty much hold it all into place, so I'm not too concerned about stripping it. Honestly, you can even get away with using a flathead if you don't have any fancy tools. Very DIY. I'm gonna take off the other one and I'll show you guys when I get this box out of here. Alright, so little movie magic. Fast forwarded to getting it almost out. This one's a little frustrating to get out, guys. I would say just get it loose and then do it by hand afterwards, unless you have a socket and everything. I do have a socket for it, but I'm not gonna waste time just kind of jumping straight into it. But this tool right here will fit. I guess not that one. This tool right over here will fit right in there, and it'll loosen it up just enough. There's not any kind of real torque on these things, any kind of real torque on these nuts, so easy to take off. Now let's see here. Looks like there's some wires in the back side of water, and let's see. I think we can just scoot it out. Actually, aha! There's another one all the way up in the corner. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So that one's gonna be even more frustrating to get at. So we're gonna actually go ahead and, I guess, take apart this. Nope, we're gonna get it. Gonna get it without taking out the panel. Oh yes. There we go. There we go. Yep, easy money. So now, wow, this could not have been any more easier, guys. We're just gonna go in and take it right off. Alright, so we were able to turn around the module. Now there's two brown and green plugs in the back, just like the other ones. We're gonna push the little button down, that little thing right there, and push it down and push it out. There we go. There we go. That takes off. There we go. That's one. That's two. And just like that, we have our body control module with all of the fuses and all the good stuff. This is going to talk to the key. So we have two components out. Now we need to take the third component out. And Fiat is relatively cheap, guys. These plastic covers never really stand a chance. So you can kind of just pop it out. Take it off. They kind of just snap in. These little screws right here kind of eat that thing away. But now we're going to go ahead and knock out these screws right here. So it's a lot more different than we did in our Nissan Versa. Rest in peace of that car. But basically what we're going to do is take a flathead and a sledgehammer and start knocking these bolts off. Once those bolts are off, this whole entire thing will come out, and we're going to just unplug it here and probably on top as well, just to get it out. There we go. See, there's one and two. Now our wires are out of the way, at least away from the smacking. Hold on, let's do this a little bit better. There we go. Put that guy up and away. Now we don't have no more wires in the way. Now we have a clear opening, and I'll show you guys right now how I'm gonna do this. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, and you want to be able to get it right on a groove. Once you start pitting it, you'll be able to knock it off with your fingers. Now obviously this takes two hands, but you guys got to trust me on this one. It's a little hard, but with a little Asian persuasion, a little tappa, you can knock this one right off. If you don't feel comfortable going right here, you can go closer to the body of it and get right there on the lip of the screw. I'm gonna take these off and I'll show you guys what it looks like afterwards. Alright, turn to violence. Well, not really that violent, but the threading on here is pretty long. It's much more longer than the Nissan. The Nissan's kind of just a stud. This one's a whole entire thing that goes all the way through and through. But you can see the head of this thing now. It doesn't require a lot of torque, guys. Again, these are interior bolts. They're not going to require a whole massive force. This thing literally is just an ignition. It's a plastic ignition. If it dangles there, it dangles there. These wires are pretty tight. They're going to hold up the majority of everything, but we're going to just slip these into the other car, tighten it down by finger, because we're going to swap over these parts anyway back into this vehicle once we get the key for the other car. But for right now, we are going to go ahead and do the same thing. So we start off with the blue side, and that's where we hit more on the handle. When you do hit, you want to hit with force to go in that direction. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, and once it's all loose, you can get yourself vice grips, pliers, whatever you got in hand, and then start to turn it off by hand, or keep hitting it little by little with the hammer. That's your other choice of option, but I turned to violence and use that. So let me get the other one off, and I'm gonna show you guys this switch when it looks like that. Alright guys, so I'm gonna show you a little trick with this second one. I'm basically gonna wiggle the part and we're gonna unloosen. So by wiggling and jiggling, we're able to get our nice fingers up in there and pull it on out. We do have another connection up here that we got to be careful of, but once we get this one out, we got to pull that bad boy out, put it to the side, pop this guy down, and then that's our other one that we have to be very careful of. So fascinating. See, with other vehicles that don't have chip in their keys, you can just take this piece off, right, with a flathead and a hammer, knock it off so the steering is loosened, and once you knock off that piece, then you can take any kind of key or anything like a flathead, and this thing connects to another type of spinning mechanism just like this. So the inside will look like this right over here. That's what it'll look like from any other vehicle. You can put a flathead right in there, crank it right over. You don't need a key, just a flathead and a hammer. Get you a long ways. Of course, for safety purposes, do it at your own risk, and do it for your own vehicles if you need to start it. Got it unplugged, and what we did, we got a flathead, kind of jammed it in between, popped this up just a little bit so we can wiggle that guy right on out. It's also easier if you just remove this whole entire housing from its ignition ring. So that piece will look something like that. And I'm assuming that there's some kind of technology in this housing area, maybe something in the ring itself that talks to the brain in here that tells the car, hey, I have the key, let's go, turn me on. Because that's what that little circle looks like. I'm not too sure, but now we're going to repeat this process, plug it back up into the car, and put down some bolts into the holes. They are very long because the threads are on the outside up there, and it has to pass through this entire thing, which is crazy. So now we're going to put all this into the other Fiat. So I guess to answer some questions, why don't we just put in the ignition switch and then put it on through there? Well, that's a very good question, and to answer that question, guys, that comes down to codes. Like an Arduino board or other motherboards or any kind of circuitry, like your house phone or even your telephone, has chips, and inside all this technology in here, there is codes. Inside this box right here, there is codes, and all those codes are sent to a computer, therefore sent around the car, and even the key has its own little tiny computer in it. So if you were to take apart something like this, you would get a green board, and it has a lot of data in there that's pretty much programmed to your vehicle. So now we're gonna take all the parts out of here, and I'm gonna catch you guys when I get this off. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that quick little snippet of kind of unbolting everything, putting everything back together. We have the ignition switch kind of just unplugged right now, and we have some of the bolts in, but not all of them. Just in case this doesn't work, then we're going to swap everything back into the other car. This is a hypothesis video. Again, like I was telling you guys, kind of just a how-to too if you want to learn how to swap around some stuff. Looks like we got to put this guy back in because that's a little awkward situation there. But right now it's just to see if it runs. And if it does, then we will put everything 100% back in together, take out the battery, and drive this car around again.
Again, I'm tiny.
Hold it down, hold the clutch down.
I'm holding it down as I can.
Are you turning it over? It's not turning over, huh? Well, that happened. We forgot to unplug some wires right there. Captain Obvious didn't put together the BCM, but now we got it together, and hopefully it does start. These wires are a little confusing, guys. Just wanted to show you, basically you want to match that little curve groove down all the way, and then scoop it right in there, and then it'll connect 100%. Wait.
Is the battery even plugged in?
You know, just one thing. Your battery might be dead, but I'll...
So you guys know it wasn't my fault. He just forgot to plug in the ECUs and all you.
Careful, my beer. Go ahead. All right. It's okay. Hold on. The battery might be dead.
Oh, it's been sitting.
Hello? All the ECUs in. Oh, and I'm out. You unplugged the damn thingy.
I didn't do it. You gave it to me like that.
Oh, well, that's probably why. Hell yeah! Hell yeah, bro. So, proven hypothesis, if you do switch out your ECU, ECM, whatever you want to call this, and the BCM, wherever the other part is at, basically, it'll all work. And you have to make sure that that little ring of death is connected as well, because that's one thing we didn't make sure was connected. So, a lot of the stuff was in and out of the vehicle. Trial and error, we did switch out the battery anyway, because the other battery was dead. To find out, maybe it's not dead, but to be safe, we're going to keep this one out of the vehicle, because it hasn't been charged in a month and a half. This thing has been dead since April 25th that we lost the key, so almost 2 months that it's not been charged. Still a good battery. Hopefully they're good cells. We'll find out AutoZone soon, but we're gonna leave this one in for now, and of course tighten everything back down, make sure everything is super secure. That's how you guys do it. Just a 10 out of 13 really goes a long way, and maybe some vice grips, hammer, and a flat head. But as always, guys, stay safe and stay chill.